So Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi spent months calling each other their mutual obsession and telling every interviewer who would listen that they were codependent on set. And now Jacob has gone public with Kendall Jenner. The internet is losing its collective mind, and Margot has something to say about all of it. On April 11th, 2026, the first weekend of Coachella, something happened at a party that sent the entire celebrity gossip world into a spiral. Justin Bieber had just performed his headlining set at the festival, and the real show apparently started at his after-party. Multiple eyewitnesses came forward to the gossip account Dux Moy. Several sources told Dux Moy that Jacob Elordi and Kendall Jenner were all over each other at the Bieber after-party, making out in front of other partygoers. Now, if you know anything about Kendall Jenner, you know she is not the type to put her love life on display. The 30-year-old supermodel is known to keep her romantic life private. Despite living under scrutiny, she posted a TikTok video from Coachella with her friends and her sister Kylie, but there was no sign of Jacob in the clip. Classic Kendall. But the cat was already out of the bag. The rumors of the pair's fling first began after they were seen together at the festival, with fans keeping an eye on their movements. Social media went into full detective mode. People were tracking where they stood during Bieber's set, analyzing video footage, pulling screenshots, connecting dots, and then the bigger bomb dropped. A source told the Daily Mail the model and the Euphoria actor were an item as far back as early February. This wasn't a Coachella fling. This had been going on for months, under everyone's noses, during the entire Wuthering Heights press tour, during every single interview where Jacob Elordi sat next to Margot Robbie and told her she was the center of his universe. That realization is what made the internet explode, because Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie had just spent the first 3 months of 2026 on one of the most talked about press tours in recent memory. They said things about each other that made people's jaws drop, and the whole time, apparently, Jacob was quietly seeing Kendall Jenner. So who is Jacob Elordi, and how did he end up at the center of Hollywood's most complicated love triangle? Jacob Elordi was born on June 26, 1997, in Brisbane, Australia. He first emerged in the public spotlight as the leading man of Netflix's The Kissing Booth film series, in which he starred opposite his eventual girlfriend, Joey King. That 2018 film made him a household name among younger audiences practically overnight. But it was a role he would later distance himself from as he matured as an actor. He later joined the cast of HBO's Euphoria and reportedly engaged in a brief romance with co-star Zendaya. The two were photographed kissing in Manhattan, and sources at the time said they'd been inseparable for months, though neither of them ever confirmed the relationship publicly. After things ended with Zendaya, who went on to find her endgame with Tom Holland, Elordi and model Kaya Gerber sparked dating rumors in September 2020, after they were photographed on a date at Nobu in New York City. Kaya is Cindy Crawford's daughter, and Jacob reportedly won over her famous parents. A source told People that Jacob is very sweet to Kaya, and that Cindy and Rondé approve of Jacob too. But by November 2021, that relationship also ran its course, with Page 6 describing the breakup as amicable. And then came Olivia J. Giannulli. Just 1 month after Elordi and Gerber split, the actor jumped into a relationship with Olivia J. Giannulli, the influencer and daughter of actress Lori Loughlin, who gained notoriety during the 2019 college admissions scandal. What followed was 4 years of the most exhausting, on-again, off-again celebrity relationship. In recent memory, the actor dated Olivia J. Giannulli on and off from 2021 until 2025. They broke up, got back together, broke up again. Reports show they briefly broke up in August 2022, only to rekindle their connection with European vacations and family get-togethers. In between one of their breaks, Elordi briefly dated Bianca Finch, while on a break with Giannulli in 2023. Then he went right back to Olivia Jade. Following a summer 2025 split, she waited in the wings as Elordi walked the red carpet at the Toronto International Film Festival in September. She was there when he premiered Frankenstein, supporting him from the sidelines as she always had. Though an insider told People the next month that the pair were fully over, they were again spotted together in January, only for a source in February to insist their relationship was done for good. That February breakup is interesting, because according to reports, that is also around the time Jacob started seeing Kendall Jenner. The timing is tight, very tight. Meanwhile, Jacob's career was hitting extraordinary new heights. He earned an Oscar nomination for Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro film, where he played the monster with a haunting vulnerability. And he was cast alongside Margot Robbie in Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights, playing Heathcliff to her Catherine. That's where things get really interesting. When Wuthering Heights came out on February 13, 2026, the film itself was a massive cultural event. Saltburn filmmaker Emerald Fennell's reimagining of Emily Bronte's classic novel starred Margot Robbie as Catherine Earnshaw and Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff, and the anticipation had been building for over a year. The first trailer for the film arrived back in September and had been skewered for everything from its anachronistic wardrobe to its overt eroticism. But none of the discourse around the film could compare to the firestorm that came from Margot and Jacob's press tour. It started with a Fandango interview in late January. Robbie admitted to becoming codependent with her co-star Elordi. She said she's always that person who gets devastated when a job ends, and that she developed that attachment to Jacob quickly. Then she described how, from the very first days on set, he would position himself in her orbit. She recalled, "I remember the first couple days on set, he would just be always in the vicinity where I was, but like in a corner watching." When Fennell was asked whether she told Jacob to do this, the director replied, "I didn't tell him to do that, I actually had to ask him to leave." Robbie continued, explaining that she had gotten so accustomed to Elordi's presence that she started looking around for him when he wasn't nearby. She said she felt quite lost, like a kid without their blanket or something, and Jacob matched her energy completely. He called their dynamic a mutual obsession and said, regardless of plot or screenplay, if you have the opportunity to share a film set with Margot Robbie, you're going to make sure you're within 5 to 10 meters at all times. He talked about watching how she drinks tea, how she eats her food, waiting for the moment the performance would slip. And it never comes undone, he said. She's just like an elite actor. The revelations kept escalating. In a Today interview on January 30th, they revealed that director Emerald Fennell had gone into their dressing rooms and built shrines. Robbie explained, "Emerald went into our dressing rooms and made a shrine of each other in our dressing rooms." She described them as unhinged and hilarious, with locks of hair, pictures, candles. Hers was a Jacob shrine, and he had a Margot shrine. Fennell, according to Robbie, set the bar for how intense they should take their characters' romance, and then we just kept trying to meet the bar. Then there were the matching rings. Robbie had matching rings made for herself and Elordi. Designer Cece Fine Hughes confirmed to British Vogue. The rings featured 2 entwined skeletons in the pose of the iconic film poster, with the Bronte quote engraved around them. Around the skeletons on the ring are Bronte's words, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." And in a British Vogue chat, Robbie recalled her experience filming with Elordi, admitting that some of their intimate scenes left her feeling weak at the knees. She spoke about a scene where Heathcliff effortlessly lifted her character with one arm, and another where he shielded her face from the rain. These old-fashioned romantic gestures, she said, were the kind women used to swoon over. Now, the elephant in the room. Margot Robbie is married. She married Tom Ackerley, her producing partner, and has repeatedly spoken about how much she loves being his wife. She once said, "Being married is actually the most fun ever. Life got way more fun somehow." But the comments about Jacob made people forget all about that, especially when she made that now infamous red carpet remark about the film's Valentine's Day release date. She said she'd want to see the film with her husband or whoever. Fans latched onto those 2 words, or whoever, and ran with it. The jokes came pouring in. People commented things like, "my husband," or "Jacob Elordi," or whoever. Things got even more uncomfortable in public when body language experts started weighing in. At an event where Margot appeared with both her husband Tom Ackerley and Jacob Elordi, an expert said Ackerley's body language showed the faintest hint of a cry for help. The expert noted that Tom wasn't posing next to his wife, that very few, if many men, could style it out opposite Jacob, and that the posing looks a little cruel. So that was the atmosphere heading into spring 2026. The entire internet thought Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi had something going on, and Jacob, knowingly or unknowingly, fed every single flame. While Margot and Jacob were dominating entertainment headlines throughout January and February, something was quietly happening in the background that nobody saw coming. Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi were reportedly in a relationship for several months before their first public appearance together. The roots of this connection stretch back further than anyone realized. Elordi was among the guests at Jenner's birthday in 2022. When he was still best known for his role on Euphoria, they had been circling in the same Hollywood social universe for years, never crossing any romantic line. The shift from friends to something more reportedly happened because of one particular person, Kylie Jenner. The report suggested that Kylie Jenner played a role in bringing the two together. Here's how it happened. During the 2025-2026 awards season, Kylie was a fixture at ceremonies and parties because her boyfriend Timothée Chalamet was nominated for Marty Supreme. Jacob Elordi was also making the rounds, nominated for Frankenstein. That put Kylie and Jacob in the same rooms, at the same tables, at the same parties over and over again. According to insiders, Kylie was around Jacob a lot during Timothée's award season marathon because Jacob was nominated for Frankenstein and Timothée was nominated for Marty Supreme, and Kylie apparently came away impressed. The insider said Kylie liked him and thought he would be good for Kenny, so she was like, "Girl, get on it, date this guy already." And it wasn't just a casual suggestion. Reports indicate that Kylie is the alpha sister and pushed Kenny to start a romance with Jacob because she wanted to set up double dates with Timothée. She wanted the four of them to hang out together. She wanted double date nights, but Kendall didn't jump in right away. It was claimed that Kendall initially hesitated, as she was not sure if she wanted to keep him in the friend zone or not. That hesitation is notable. After all, Kendall's last public relationship was with Bad Bunny, and they dated for less than a year before breaking up in December 2023. Before that, she was in a relationship with Devin Booker for 2 years, from 2020 to 2022. She has also been romantically involved with Ben Simmons, Blake Griffin, AAP Rocky, and Harry Styles. A long list of high-profile men, and every single relationship ended publicly. You can understand why she might hesitate before jumping into something new with yet another famous person. But Kylie, described by sources as having dominant Leo energy compared to her older sister's more casual nature, pushed through the hesitation. And eventually it worked. The source revealed that Jenner and Elordi's first few dates took place at her Beverly Hills mansion. Kenny's house is where all the parties happen. A lot of action there. So the four of them got close there, they said. And Kenny found out. She just clicked with Jacob. There was chemistry. The timeline is significant. A source told the Daily Mail they were an item as far back as early February. That means when Jacob was sitting across from Margot Robbie on January 30th, telling Today about their mutual obsession and their matching shrines, he was either about to start seeing Kendall or was already in the very earliest stages of it. When the Wuthering Heights Paris premiere happened on February 2nd, where Jacob famously waited for Margot and helped her up onto the stage, holding her hand in her dress, the internet swooned. But behind the scenes, his romantic attention was apparently turning elsewhere. They began raising eyebrows publicly in March after they were photographed together at the Vanity Fair Oscars party. At the time, nobody made much of it. Two famous people talking at a party that every famous person in the world was attending. But looking back, insiders say they were already together by that point. Then came Coachella, and any pretense of secrecy evaporated on the dance floor of Justin Bieber's after-party. Jacob was also recently spotted at a coffee shop in Santa Barbara, which is near Jenner's ranch, where she spends most of her time. They weren't seen together at that particular moment, but fans had already connected all the dots. The evidence trail was overwhelming. For weeks after Coachella, Margot Robbie said nothing about the Kendall situation. The internet speculated wildly. Some people joked that she'd been dumped. Others constructed elaborate narratives about how she must be devastated. Memes flooded Twitter and TikTok, comparing her to a woman scorned. It was, by any standard, absurd. Margot Robbie is a happily married woman promoting a movie, but that's the nature of celebrity culture in 2026. The codependency comments had created a perception that was almost impossible to undo. When she said she was weak at the knees, when she said she felt lost without him, when she said my husband or whoever, those sound bites had taken on a life of their own, completely detached from the context of a press tour designed to sell a romance film. Robbie recently cleared the air in an interview with Glamour. She talked about her character in the film, saying Kathy and Heathcliff do have a codependency, and that their relationship is really captivating. She said her codependency comment was taken out of context, and that Kathy and Heathcliff's relationship is codependent. In other words, she was talking about the characters, not about her and Jacob as people. The press tour blurred those lines because that's what press tours are designed to do, to make you believe in the chemistry so you buy a ticket. And this is where we have to take a step back and be honest about what actually happened here. Every single quote from Margot and Jacob was in service of promoting a movie, a very expensive, very high-profile movie that Margot herself produced. Robbie's own production company was behind the film, and she is both its star and its producer. Every mutual obsession comment, every ring, every shrine, it all served the narrative of the film. Heathcliff and Catherine are defined by their all-consuming love for each other. The press tour mirrored that on purpose. Jacob Elordi himself has spoken about how overwhelmed he can get by the spotlight. He once said, "I can see an edge of a cliff, and I'm just teetering on the edge. My fear is, what step can't you go back from?" He's an actor who has repeatedly expressed discomfort with the invasive nature of celebrity gossip. He once said he wanted to take a break from acting entirely, before Fennell asked him to star in Wuthering Heights. The idea that he was secretly carrying on an affair with his married co-star, while simultaneously beginning a relationship with a Jenner, is a narrative that sells clicks but crumbles under any serious scrutiny. What's much more likely, and what the evidence actually supports, is straightforward. Margot and Jacob are co-stars who genuinely became close friends during an intense film shoot. They bonded over their shared Australian backgrounds. The actors bonded on set over their Australian roots and commitment to the arts. Elordi revealed he had been a fan of Robbie since her days on the Australian soap opera Neighbours, and that seeing her in The Wolf of Wall Street was when he knew she had become a global phenomenon. They leaned into the press tour with the full understanding that selling the romance of Catherine and Heathcliff required selling their own chemistry. That's Hollywood. That's the job. Meanwhile, Jacob's actual romantic life was moving on from Olivia Jade, with whom sources confirmed in February that things were done for good, and into a new chapter with Kendall Jenner. According to People, the supermodel and the actor have been hanging out and getting to know each other the last couple months. Things are apparently going well. It helps that they have both been in Los Angeles a lot, which has given them time to bond. The Kylie matchmaking story is out there. The double dates with Timothée Chalamet are apparently happening. And if Elordi and Jenner have indeed taken their relationship to the next level, she'd be the second of her sisters to date an Oscar-nominated actor. So when Margot Robbie broke her silence, it wasn't the dramatic, emotional statement people were hoping for. It was a measured, professional clarification from a 35-year-old woman who understood exactly what the press tour had done and was simply pulling the narrative back to reality. She was talking about characters, she was doing her job, and Jacob, he was doing his too, while also, as it turns out, quietly falling for someone new. The internet wanted a love triangle. What it got was a masterclass in press tour chemistry, a private romance that managed to stay hidden for months, and a married actress who had to remind everyone that acting is, in fact, acting. Neither Kendall nor Jacob has publicly confirmed their relationship, and given how both of them handle their private lives, it might stay that way for a while. But the pieces are all there. Kylie's matchmaking, the Beverly Hills Mansion dates, the Vanity Fair sighting, the Coachella kiss, and Margot Robbie calmly returning to her husband and her producing empire, wondering why anyone thought she was part of this story in the first place.